Hi, my name is Fran Kysela. I'm the owner of Kysela Fis. We are a specialty wine porter based in Winchester, Virginia. I'm here today to taste you on the Rubus wines. We call it the Rubus brand family. There are 13 wine types in this brand family. Today we're going to try 5. Rubus came about some years ago. It was 1997. I was out in Amador County, California. Big crop of Zin, and we're tasting wines out of barrel. And I was working with Bill Easton at the time, and he goes, "Hey Fran, I've got this huge bumper crop of really, really great wines, but I can't sell them all. My network won't do it. And how would you like to buy 1,250 cases of Rubus Zin, Amador County, as sort of a one-off?" And I really hadn't done anything like that before, so I wanted to try it. The wine was spectacular. That's really all that mattered. And so we brought in 1,250 cases of 1997 Rubus Amador Zin. And by the way, since I didn't mention it, Rubus, the word is Latin for raspberry. And what it means is that we're trying to convey a fruit-driven style of wine based on a specific soil type, or what we call a subset of climat. Basically, Rubus, which started as a single wine in 1997, has changed beginning in 2007, 10 years later, into a brand family. So today we'll start with the Chardonnay and we'll finish with the Zinfandel. So the first wine here is Rubus Chardonnay. And how I sort of expanded from just a one-off concept of Rubus as just one red wine or an Amador Zin is I was in Sydney, Australia, and I met a person by the name of Len Evans, and he had a wine estate called Tower Estate. And he developed the concept back then of matching the varietal to the growing area. So for California, it would be Napa Valley. Of course, the varietal would be Cabernet Sauvignon. For Lodi, the varietal would be Zinfandel. And he, in Australia, had matched Hunter Valley to Hunter Valley Semillon, Barossa Valley to Barossa Valley Shiraz grapes, and on down the line. Coonawarra to Cabernet Sauvignon, and he had a series of about 8 different wines matching specific growing areas to the varietal they grew best. So here we're going to have a Chardonnay from Chile. Chile has really come on with making exceptional Chardonnay and at a good value. This is made by Viña Siegel, Alberto Siegel. And you can see the color on it. It's got a beautiful yellow-green color. So anytime I get Chardonnay that looks like that, I know I'm in for a treat. The nose, really crisp, fresh, barrel fermentation, fresh fruits, really quite good on the nose. So this has really got a nice long finish. A typical Chardonnay of apple, vanillin, pear, a little buttery in flavor. Now, the second wine we have today is Rubus Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. This is an area in the last 40 years has really taken off for Sauvignon Blanc. In fact, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is the number 4 imported wine, and it's just on one varietal in the U.S. They do make Riesling in New Zealand. They do grow Pinot Noir and make Pinot Noir wines, even things like Pinot Gris and Breidecker. But the export business is dominated by Sauvignon Blanc. And oddly enough, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is the number white wine in all of Australia, their neighbor. And here in America, it's an ocean of Sauvignon Blanc being brought in. Now, this is a little different take than your standard Sauvignon Blanc. Most of them are from Marlborough, which is the north end of the South Island. This one is from down near Christchurch, which is down in the southern part of the South Island, and it's from an area called Waipara. So while you see mostly New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, and it has more of a snow pea pod, green pepper kind of aromas and flavors, and little citrus flavors too, this is much more Flint, gooseberries, a little more terroir driven. Good length, no wood on the wine, but very expressive of the varietal. Long finish, good acidity, great with seafood and salad. Then the third wine, we're going to go to a rosé. This is the Vin Gris, which is the French term for a rosé wine in southern France. And this is a 2020. So you can see this really vibrant pink color, pinkish red. This has only been in the bottle for about 4 weeks. So it's just been bottled. A lot of watermelon, strawberry. Really clean, fresh fruit flavors and aromas. Good acidity, nice and dry. The category rosé, a lot of you might remember it from the 60s. If you're old enough, that was Mateus Rosé from Portugal. That was a sweet, bubbly, vin vert style of rosé. Then in the 1980s, we saw White Zin sort of take over with Sutterholm and Beringer, making loads and loads of White Zinfandel. Now we see more of what we call Southern French dry rosés. Vin Gris, Tavel, Côte d'Aron, Bandol Rosé. It's a growing category, a lot of interest in rosé. So now we'll change gears. We'll go to red wine. And as I always say, some people feel it's the first duty of a wine is to be red. Very popular. Red wine is over 60% of consumption these days. When I started in the wine business, it was mostly white wine, a little rosé, a little bit of sparkling, and some red. Now it's dominated by red wine. So this is a Malbec, and it's from Argentina. The home of Malbec is really Bordeaux, but it was transported and to this area near it's Argentina. It's called Mendoza, Argentina. 84% of the wine in Argentina comes from Mendoza. So Malbec, which is grown in the area of Cahors in France, and is also used as a blending grape in Bordeaux. Here it stands alone in Argentina as a single varietal. Americans import about 7 million cases of Argentine wine, maybe a little more. Most of it is Malbec. There's some Cabernet, Cab Franc, Chardonnay being brought in, but a lot of Malbec. We checked the data 2 years ago. There are over 900 Malbecs on the market in the U.S. now. So somebody likes it. So nose is cedar, sandalwood, a little bit of spice, clove. Dry red, meant for grilled meats. Typically in Argentina, they do a lot of what's called asador cooking or roasting, especially on the weekends. I have one I'm particularly fond of called the Vacío, which is also known in America as flank steak. And I might add the corkscrew. This is a new thing in the last 2 years. The cork is actually sugar cane. So really no chemicals in it. Or synthetics. And then the last red today is the Old Vine Zin from Lodi. Lodi is about 90,000 acres of grapes inland from San Francisco by about 2 hours. It's part of that whole northern part of San Joaquin Valley. A lot of Christmas aromas here, plums and spice. As I mentioned earlier, we started with Zinfandel with an Amador Zin with Rubus in 1997, and then that was sort of just a one-off. Then in 2007 began again with a Napa Cab and a Rubus Zin. This is the #1 SKU within the whole line of 13 types. So it's Lodi Old Vine Zin. It's made by Ironstone Winery. Fruity, plummy, a little bit of vanilla on it. Good long finish, quite a long finish. This is for your backyard parties and grilling. Really a delicious wine for the money. So I invite you to try the other 8 wines of Rubus. Maybe another day we'll try those. We have Napa Valley Cabernet, we have sparkling wines, cover a number of different areas. But again, it's sort of that same concept of doing the best varietal in a location that the terroir is known for. So we have Malbec, which is the grape of Argentina. We have Sauvignon Blanc, which is the grape of New Zealand, and on down the line. So thank you for today.